If that old janitor can keep up with me, I'll retire today. He mocked the 70-year-old man in front of the entire gym. The 70-year-old man didn't argue. He didn't flinch. He just tightened his grip like he'd done it 1,000 times before. Marcus laughed. The crowd recorded. Whispers spread. Why would a fitness influencer with 2 million followers challenge a 70-year-old janitor, and why did the old man just nod and say, okay? Moments later, something none of them expected started unfolding. Before we continue, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means everything to us, and it helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Now, let's begin. Marcus Chen lived for attention. He liked the way gym members stared when he walked in wearing designer athleisure that cost more than most people's rent. He liked the sound of phones clicking as he set up his ring light for another workout video. But that Tuesday afternoon, something disrupted his rhythm. The mirror space he always used for filming sat occupied by an old janitor doing slow, deliberate exercises with worn resistance bands. Marcus stopped mid-stride. His filming crew stopped with him. One of them whispered, "Who's that guy?" Marcus's jaw tightened. The smell of disinfectant mixed with protein shake powder filled the air. Several gym members lingered nearby, sensing something was about to happen the way people do when tension cracks the usual routine. The janitor, a man named Robert Song, moved through his exercises with quiet focus, counting under his breath in a language Marcus didn't recognize. He pulled the bands with controlled motions, his weathered hands showing calluses that spoke of decades of work. He didn't notice the crowd forming, or maybe he did, and simply didn't care. Marcus stepped forward, his voice cutting through the ambient music. "Excuse me, sir. You're in my filming space?" Robert looked up, confused for a moment, then glanced around. "Didn't see any reserved signs? Just doing my routine?" Marcus laughed. It wasn't a kind sound. "Routine? You're doing grandpa exercises with dollar store rubber bands." His crew exchanged looks. A phone camera started recording. Someone whispered, "Oh man, here we go." Robert didn't respond. He just adjusted his grip on the bands and moved to the side slightly, making room. That politeness irritated Marcus even more. He moved closer, raising his voice so his words carried to every corner of the gym. "You know what? Since you think those toys are real fitness equipment, let's make this interesting." He gestured to his cameraman. "We're going live. I'll do my workout. You do yours. We'll see who's really training and who's just wasting time." The gym went quiet. A staff member near the front desk muttered, "This is going to be bad." Marcus grinned at his phone screen, watching the viewer count climb. "And just to make it fun, if you can actually complete the same workout I do, I'll donate $10,000 to any charity you want." He paused for effect. "But when you can't, you admit those bands are useless. Deal?" Robert blinked slowly, his expression unreadable. "You want to work out together?" "I want to show these people what real fitness looks like," Marcus said, flexing for the camera. "Your call, old-timer." The crowd leaned in. A slight breeze from the AC vent carried the scent of rubber flooring and sweat. Robert looked at his resistance bands, then at Marcus's elaborate setup of weights, benches, and supplements. His fingers tapped the bands lightly, a small, thoughtful motion. Then he looked at Marcus. "You're sure about this?" Marcus nodded, his smile wide and confident. "Absolutely. Let's go." Robert gave one small shrug. "All right, then." The murmurs grew louder. Phones angled higher. The gym's atmosphere shifted, the kind of tension that comes before a moment people will replay later. And just like that, a challenge nobody asked for began with a simple nod from a man who never raised his voice. The notification went out instantly. Live workout challenge at Apex Fitness. Within minutes, Marcus's followers flooded the stream. Comments rolled past. "About to watch this guy school a boomer." Another said, "Marcus never misses." The gym filled with more people, members abandoning their workouts to watch, forming a loose circle around the two men. Marcus thrived in the attention. He pointed to the squat rack. "We'll start simple, back squats. 3 sets of 12, 225 pounds. He loaded the bar with practiced showmanship, making sure each plate clanged loud enough for the microphones to catch. Then we'll move to deadlifts, bench press, and finish with a conditioning circuit. He turned to Robert. Unless you want to quit now and save yourself the embarrassment. Robert stood quietly, still holding his resistance bands. I'll use what I have. Someone in the crowd laughed. He thinks bands equal 200 pounds. Another voice added, This is going to be painful to watch. Marcus positioned himself under the bar, adjusted his stance, and began his set. His form was textbook perfect, hitting depth on every rep, breathing timed precisely. The bar moved smoothly, his muscles flexed under his moisture-wicking shirt, designed to show every contour. The camera caught it all. Comments exploded with fire emojis and praise. He finished his final rep with a controlled exhale and racked the weight. Sweat already beaded on his forehead, but his smile stayed fixed. Your turn, Grandpa. Robert stepped forward. He looped his resistance bands around a support beam, creating tension. He positioned his feet, adjusted his posture, and began his squats. Slow, controlled, full range of motion. His breathing stayed even, rhythmic. No speed, no flash, just methodical precision. The crowd's laughter faded slightly. One person whispered, His form is actually clean. Another said, Yeah, but it's still just bands. Marcus moved to the deadlift platform, loading 3 plates on each side. Conventional deadlifts, 5 reps. Let's see those bands replicate this. He gripped the bar, set his back, and pulled. The weight rose smoothly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He dropped it with a satisfying crash that echoed through the gym. His breathing grew heavier. A slight tremor showed in his hands as he wiped them on his towel. He gulped water from his branded bottle, the one with his logo and supplement sponsorship visible to the camera. Robert repositioned his bands, creating a different anchor point. He performed his deadlift motion, the bands stretching with significant resistance. His face remained calm, focused. His 70-year-old frame moved with surprising stability. No shaking, no struggle, just steady control. Marcus frowned slightly, but pushed forward. Bench press, 195, 10 reps. He lay on the bench, positioning himself under the bar. His crew counted out loud for the stream. The first 5 reps moved well. The 6th showed effort. By the 8th, his arms shook. He ground out the 9th and barely locked out the 10th, needing his spotter's fingers under the bar for the final inch. He sat up, breathing hard. Sweat soaked through his shirt. His face flushed red. He reached for his pre-workout supplement, downing it quickly. The gym's heat pressed in, making the air feel thick. Robert waited patiently. When Marcus nodded, he adjusted his bands again, performed his pressing motion with the same measured cadence. No strain showed on his face. His breathing never spiked. Somewhere in the crowd, someone said, "How is he not tired?" Marcus stood, his confidence cracking slightly at the edges. Final round, conditioning circuit, burpees, box jumps, kettlebell swings, 1 minute each, no rest between. He looked directly at the camera. This is where age shows up. He started his burpees. Explosive at first, hitting the ground and jumping with power. 30 seconds in, his pace slowed. 45 seconds, his form broke down. At 50 seconds, he stumbled slightly on the jump. He finished the minute gasping, hands on his knees. Box jumps came next. He approached the platform, jumped, landed. Second jump, his foot slipped slightly. Third jump, he hesitated, recalculating. By the 8th jump, he stepped up instead of jumping, his legs refusing to explode the way they had in his Instagram videos. The crowd's energy shifted. Comments on the live stream changed tone. "Is he okay?" Someone wrote, "He's gassing out." Another said, "Where's that elite conditioning?" Kettlebell swings were last. Marcus gripped the bell, started swinging. His hips lost their snap after 20 seconds. The bell's arc shortened. His breathing turned ragged, desperate. At 40 seconds, his grip failed. The kettlebell dropped to the mat with a heavy thud. He bent over, hands on knees, sucking air in loud, labored pulls. The gym went silent except for Marcus's breathing. His cameraman looked uncertain, unsure whether to keep filming. The viewer count peaked, everyone watching the moment the perfect image cracked. Robert stepped forward. "Would you like some water?" His voice carried no judgment, no gloating, just simple concern. Marcus waved him off, still bent over, unable to speak. After 30 seconds, he managed, "Just give me a minute." Robert nodded and quietly began his circuit. His burpees moved at half the speed but never stopped. Perfect form, controlled breathing, every rep identical to the last. Box step-ups, not jumps. But his rhythm never broke. Kettlebell swings with a lighter weight, but his hips drove with proper mechanics. His spine stayed neutral, his breath timed to the movement. He finished the minute and stood there, breathing steady, his gray uniform darkened with sweat but his composure unchanged. He set the kettlebell down gently and waited. Marcus finally straightened, his face a mask of confusion and something else, humiliation. The camera caught every detail. His perfect hair stuck to his forehead. His designer clothes clung to his body in unflattering ways. His hands trembled slightly as he tried to regain his trademark confidence. One of the gym members, a personal trainer who'd been watching quietly, spoke up. "Man, your form fell apart. You pushed too hard too fast." Another added, "The old guy's technique is textbook, every single rep." Marcus's phone buzzed repeatedly in his pocket. Notifications, comments, his manager calling. He pulled it out and saw the livestream chat scrolling past. This is hard to watch. Respect to the old man. Marcus needs to humble himself. That janitor just taught a masterclass. His breathing finally slowed. He looked at Robert, who stood there patiently. No victory pose, no smile, no mockery. Just waiting, the same way he probably waited for messes to clean up every day. Marcus's voice came out quiet, stripped of its usual bravado. "How did you—" Robert folded his resistance bands carefully. 50 years of training. Started when I was 20. Never stopped." Someone in the crowd gasped. 50 years? Robert nodded. "I coached Olympic weightlifters in Seoul before I moved here. Taught proper form, breathing, progression. Everything I just did, I've done 10,000 times." He paused. "These bands work every muscle if you know how to use them. The equipment doesn't matter as much as people think. Consistency does. Humility does. Listening to your body does." Marcus stared at him. The gym stayed silent. His phone kept buzzing. His crew looked at each other, unsure how to salvage the content they'd just captured. Robert picked up his small gym bag. "You have talent. Good strength base. But you're training for cameras, not for health. That catches up with everyone eventually." He turned to leave, then stopped. "About that $10,000, there's a youth center 3 blocks from here. They need equipment. Real equipment. If you meant what you said, they could use it." He walked toward the locker room, his pace unhurried, unbothered. The crowd parted silently, phones still recording, but the energy completely changed. No one laughed. No one mocked. A strange respect filled the space, the kind that comes when someone's dignity speaks louder than any flex ever could. Marcus stood alone in the center of the gym, surrounded by his equipment, his crew, his viewers, and the crushing weight of a lesson he never asked for. His live stream kept running. 10,000 people watched him process what just happened. The comments shifted again. "Pay the man what you promised. Go to that youth center. This is your chance to show character." The gym owner approached, her expression serious. "Marcus, we need to talk. That stream is blowing up for the wrong reasons." He nodded slowly, still catching his breath, still trying to piece together how a janitor with rubber bands had just dismantled everything he thought he knew about fitness, about respect, about what real strength actually looked like. 3 days later, the video had 20 million views, not because of Marcus's workout, because of the moment a 70-year-old man with resistance bands showed an entire generation that consistency beats intensity, that proper form outlasts perfect aesthetics, and that the quietest person in the room often carries the deepest knowledge. Marcus posted an apology. He donated $15,000 to the youth center, 5 more than promised. He visited the center with Robert, who quietly agreed to teach a senior fitness class at the gym, free for anyone over 60. The image of Robert in his maintenance uniform, calmly completing a workout that broke a fitness influencer, went viral across every platform. Not as a joke, as a reminder. Real strength doesn't need an audience. Experience doesn't need to announce itself. And the person you underestimate might be the one carrying wisdom you desperately need. If this story moved you, don't scroll past. There are more moments where arrogance falls and character rises. Subscribe now and catch the next chapter the moment it drops.